welcome to episode 37 of the Graceful Tangle podcast. I'm Amy Kate, a young but passionate knitter and crocheter. You can find all of the links to my various social media platforms in the description box below, so be sure to check those out. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you took a moment to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can know each and every time I upload a video. Also, you can find the links to the show notes in the description box below, so if you have any other questions about what I'm going to talk about today, you can reach out over there and see if your question is answered. If it isn't, or if you want some more information about something that I am talking about, just shoot me a message on one of my social media platforms or comment down below, and I will do my best to get back with you as soon as possible. I am so excited to be back with you guys today with a brand new podcast episode. Recording these videos is really the highlight of my week. I love talking about everything that I'm working on, that I've made the past week, and it is so fun to be able to communicate it with you guys. So thank you so much for being here. Alrighty, so I have a couple of finished objects to talk about. One work in progress. Yes, one design I am working on, and then there's something else that I want to talk about that's a little bit different, but I think it'll be fun. So let's go ahead and hop into finished objects. Alrighty, so like I said, I have one finished object today, and I'm realizing that just the way the sun is kind of coming into my room today, it looks very golden on the screen. And I think it's partially because of this shirt that I'm wearing too, but anyway, I'm not mad about it. I kind of like the lighting today. I think part of it too is the past few days, or past few podcasts really have been on cloudy days, and today is not as cloudy. It's a pretty blue sky out there today. Alrighty, so like I said, I have a couple of finished objects to talk about. The first is a couple of ear warmers. So they are all the way on the floor because I usually have like quite a big pile of multiple big things, and I don't have that this week, so it's a further way down. Anyway, so I have two ear warmers that I made this past week. Here they are. So this is my Mimi's ear warmer pattern. I updated this pattern within the past week, and then I kind of celebrated that by doing a free pattern Friday, which is something that I am doing for the duration of 2021, excuse me, and I am really excited about it. It's been super fun so far, and I'm eager to continue growing that kind of idea, and yeah, I'm just excited about it. So I finished this these ear warmers, and I really like the way that they turned out. So I used Knit Picks Mighty Stitch yarn. This is an 80% 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and so it's kind of like a step up from their Brava, which is their 100% acrylic line, and I really like it. I like it a lot. This was my first time using it. It has like a really pretty shine to work with, wow, what am I saying? It has a really pretty shine to it, but that did not make it difficult to work with or anything like that. It reminds me of Caron Simply Soft, which is something that I think other people have compared this yarn to as well, but I like it a lot more than Caron Simply Soft. I've never been a huge fan of Caron. I have nothing against it. It just isn't my favorite yarn to work with, and I like this one a lot more. So you can check out the link for it in the description box below if you want to try it for yourself. This is the colorway Ash, and then this is Mint. And I also love the way they look together, and I have some left over, so I think I'm going to have to do something with the two of them. Something color work or stripes. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I really, really love them. Alrighty, so that is my first couple of finished objects. My last one and my biggest one is my weekender. So this was the project that I was focusing on for Make 30 for 30, which is a very loose knit along hosted by Natalie of the Nitty Natty Instagram page and Love and Stitches podcast. I love watching her and following her. She's definitely a really big inspiration to me, but she is hosting a month-long knit-along that is called Make 30 for 30, and to put it super simply, you just choose a project to work on for 30 minutes every day for 30 days. Now, my projects have kind of been a little bit all over the place. Sometimes I will spend 30 minutes working on this sweater, and that was my focus going into it. However, there have been some days where a deadline was quickly approaching or something along those lines, and I needed to focus on something else for that day. So it's very loose. There's no rules, no prizes. It's just a really simple knit along to participate in on Instagram and Ravelry, and it is so much fun. So I have finished my weekendo, and I am so happy with how this sweater turned out. If you've been watching in the past few podcasts, you know that I've had a couple of issues with this sweater. I had originally finished the body months ago, but realized that the shoulder shaping was just not going to work for my body. It just did not look right. It wasn't comfortable. It was riding up in weird places. And so I decided to rip back and fix that issue. And that's exactly what I did. To fix the issue, I just ripped back the bind off and went down to where I separated for the sleeves. So this sweater was worked from the bottom up, and then you split for the front and back. And when I did that, I just did about an inch longer for the back than I did for the front. And that was the perfect thing to do for me. I just omitted all of the shoulder shaping that's listed in the pattern. And it was amazing. I love it. So this is a pretty oversized sweater, and I will post some pictures on my Instagram page soon, and I might even wear it next week. I haven't blocked it quite yet, so that's why I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. But yeah, so I finished the second sleeve. That's what I was working on all this week. And I love it. It's like a sweatshirt. It's so cozy. The sleeves are long. The body is a good length. I really, really love it. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. Yeah, so Andrew Malley also has a Weekender Light sweater pattern, which is a finger wear version of this sweater. So I think that would be super fun to make in the future. Another sweater that I really want to make of hers just came out. It's I forgot the name of it now, which is frustrating. But I'm sure you've seen it. It is cabled, and it is so cute. It has a little bit of cables, but not as crazy as the All of the Lights cardigan that I finished last year. I really, really like that cardigan. So I might have to make that. I don't know. The next sweater, though, this is kind of going ahead of myself just a little bit, but the next sweater that I'm going to make is the Like a Cloud sweater by Hoey Locatelli. It is a cardigan that I have been wanting to make literally since I first saw it. It is just the perfect cardigan for me, for my body. It is my favorite shaping, which is no shaping. It's long sleeve. I just love it so much. I have the yarn all ready to go. It's going to be a super exciting project, so I am hoping to actually get started on that this week and spend my Make 30 for 30 time on that project. But we'll have to see. I'm hoping my time will allow that to happen. But yeah, I'm going to be talking more about that next week, regardless of if I start it or not. So stay tuned for that. But hopefully I will have the time to get started on it, because I've actually had the yarn for months, like a few months now, which is sad that I haven't used it yet, but it's also understandable given how much I have going on. But so I really love this sweater. Really excited to be casting on another sweater very soon, because this one, I've made so many sweaters, but I haven't really made many recently because I was working on this one and I've been deciding patterns, and it's just been crazy. But really excited to be starting a new one here shortly. So that is it for finished objects. I do have a half finished object to talk about, so let's just go ahead and hop into works in progress. Alrighty, so I have one work in progress that I'm going to show you guys this week. I'm also working on one design, so I'm going to talk about that in a second. But first off, I wanted to chat about these socks. So these are the Tale of Three Brothers socks, which is a pattern by Julie of Twin Stitches Designs. I test knit these for her, and it was a super quick turnaround, so the testing process is now complete. The pattern is out to you guys, so be sure to check it out. I'm going to link it in the description box below, and it'll be in the show notes, of course. I love these socks so much. So the requirement for testing was just to finish one sock, and that's exactly what I did, because that is exactly what my time allowed. And I love it. So this is the sock that I finished for like the Instagram post and all of that, which I did last Monday on my feed, so you can check that out if you want. The color, this is more accurate to what the color actually looks like. I adore this color. It's like, if I'm going to choose an orange, it's definitely this one. However, it is so hard to photograph. It is ridiculous. When I was choosing yarn for this project, I was in between two colors, and I couldn't decide which one to do. The other one that I wanted to do, is it over here? I don't think it's on my shelf. I think it's on another shelf over there, but it was a variegated yarn, and it was so beautiful, and I knew it would have looked amazing in socks. I've actually already knit a pair of socks for it. I made the Morning Coffee Socks by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady for my mom's birthday, and they looked so good. And so I wanted to use that yarn to make these socks, but I kind of thought that the cables would be lost, and so I decided to do a solid color, which was this one. And I definitely think I made the right decision. I just didn't really think through how hard it was going to be to photograph, but it's okay. Anyway, so I have one sock done, styled on this sock blocker that I love. I really need to get some more sock blockers, actually, because I'm running out with all of these socks that I'm making. It's crazy. And then this is how far I am on the second one. So I went ahead and put it on the blocker as well, so you could really see it. But yeah, so I'm hoping to finish this week so that you can, so that I can have a finished object to share the next week. But really love it. Yeah, it's a super simple pattern. The cables are easy and simple. The chart is easy to memorize. Love working with this yarn, of course. This is Knit Picks Stroll in the colorway Pumpkin. And yeah, I just really love it. I love this pair of socks. It's not my first pair that have cables, because I actually knit the, what were they called? Like Perfect Autumn Socks or something like that. Also by Julie of Twin Stitches Designs. But those they only used mock cables, so I didn't use a cable needle for those. So this is my first pair of socks that I'm actually using a cable needle for, which is kind of fun. It is slowing me down a little bit. I'm going to be honest about that. But it's still super fun to do. So yeah, that is my one and only finished object. Now I do have one design to talk about, and then I'm going to drop it. Drop. That's what you say when you don't know if you should say jump or hop. Drop. Anyway, and then I'm going to talk about something else that I've kind of been waiting to discuss for a while, and I feel like the time has finally come, and it's a little bit of an explanation on why I have a little amount of progress to show this week. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Alrighty, so I do have one design that I am working on right now. I actually have a pattern releasing tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But I am working on another design, and I'm really excited about it. So ever since I finished the Bestie Beanie pattern, and then even talked about it more earlier this month, I have been wanting to create a finger weight version of that pattern. So I have finally done that, and I am beyond excited of how it is coming out so far. So this is actually going to be a gift for my, I call him Papa, but he's my mom's dad, for his birthday, which is tomorrow. So I have quite a bit of knitting to do on this. I actually don't know what our plans are. We might not see him tomorrow, just because, you know, taking the necessary precautions because of COVID, which, you know, one day I pray will be over and we can see grandparents safely again. But anyway, so I'm working on this beanie, and here's what I have so far. So it is just a whole bunch of 2x2 rib. Love the way it is coming out so far, and I am losing stitches as we speak. So this is what it looks like. It looks really small, but I have, you know, measured, checked my gauge, like it's gonna be just fine. I'm just knitting it on a smaller circumference needle than I usually would, because the needles for this project have been a little bit cumbersome. I have the Chiaogu mini tip interchangeable set, which is absolutely amazing, but the longer, like, of the two shorter tips are still a little bit short for like holding something like this for a 16-inch circumference. So I just need to get a, like, correct 16-inch needle in this size. So I need to do that in the future. But anyway, absolutely love this beanie. I am using Knit Picks Hawthorne Tonal, which is my very first time using this yarn, and I love it so far. It feels different than any yarn I've worked with, but I really like it. I love the twist. Yeah, so I'll include a link if you want to check it out for yourself. I just love it. I think it's so fun, and I'm really enjoying using it. This is the colorway Glance Pass, I believe. I'm not entirely sure if that's right, but yeah, it's like a deep kind of chocolatey brown with a little bit of white. Not really white, but like a lighter brown, I guess. Yeah, it's just a very tonal brown, and I think he is going to love it. He works outside a lot, so it's going to be really good for him to have a hat like this that is a dark color, so it doesn't get dirty easy. And I hope he loves it. I'm really excited to give it to him. So that is the next design that I think that's going to be the next one I release. I'm not entirely sure. I have a few in my head, and now I'm just trying to kind of plan out what I want to release when. But really excited about that one, and I am more excited to finally be just putting that pattern together. So another thing that I wanted to talk about this week, and I'm going to do something I haven't done before, and that is combining design and devotion and a life update all in one segment. And I know it sounds crazy, but once I kind of get into it, I think you're going to understand why. So, a little bit of a backstory and history here, I guess. We Crochet, which if you're not familiar, is the sister company of Knit Picks. So they are directed specifically towards crocheters. It's a great company. I love supporting them. I love promoting them any way I can. I just really, I love what they are doing and what they're creating. Same for Knit Picks. However, they have put out a call for pattern submissions for their Winter 2021 collection. So We Crochet has a magazine, which I actually have. Let me see if I can just snag it off my bookshelf. Yes. So We Crochet has a magazine. This is their summer 2020 magazine, and so it's just filled with patterns and tips and stitches. It's just a fabulous magazine, and I absolutely love getting it and looking through it. It's just so much fun. So you can see how, let me see if I can just show you a couple of examples. So in this magazine, they have a few patterns that are within a certain collection. So for example, the summer 2020, one of the collections was Summertime Lace. And so they had a few patterns, and I'm going to try to find some pictures that, okay, so they had this pattern, and I guess this was probably, yeah, okay, so this was for a different collection, I think. Yeah, this was for the collection, I don't even know how to say that, Viridescent, maybe? Viridescent? I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, I apologize. But anyway, so they have multiple collections with each of these magazines. It is a quarterly magazine, and so they have like a spring, summer, fall, and winter, maybe, that might be right. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not 100% sure if that's the kind of correct time layout there. However, so for their Winter 2021 magazine, they are asking for pattern submissions, and they have these specific collections that you can send a proposal to. So they did the same thing last year. It was for their summer 2021 collection. So they did the same thing. They put a call out, and it wasn't as publicized. It was like they launched it in the Ravelry group. I actually got a separate email from somebody else telling me about it. And so I made the decision to submit a few pattern proposals to We Crochet back in, I think it was around August, maybe. I don't entirely remember. But it was somewhere around that time frame, late last year. So, to be honest, I was super confident in these patterns. Now, note that these are pattern proposals. So what I have done is make a gauge swatch of the kind of what the pattern is going to look like. I've done a sketch. I've written out a whole bunch of notes on what the pattern is going to look like. I've put a little bit of information about me. And then you put it all into one page and submit it that way. And you want to make it look nice, and all of that jazz. So I submitted a few patterns last fall, and none of them got accepted. And it was extremely disappointing because I was so confident that that was kind of the next step that God had for me. And of course, I wasn't, it's a balancing act. Like the knitting and crochet world is absolutely amazing and such a supportive community, but it's also, a bit of a weird thing to pursue as a career, especially as an 18-year-old. Like it's not the norm, and I realize that, but I believe that I'm on the path God wants me to be, and I have, put so much thought and prayer into that. And so when this proposal came up, and when I came up with these designs and was inspired by what they had put out, I wanted to create something that they would love. And so I submitted these proposals and eagerly, anticipated hearing back and hoping that one of them got accepted. And unfortunately, none of them did. And it was hard to expect because, well, I guess hard to accept because, again, I was in full expectation that it was the next step that God had. It was what was next on this journey of mine. So, moving forward, when it didn't get accepted, I moved on. Of course, I continued designing. I didn't talk too much about it because I wasn't sure exactly how to talk about it and how to kind of be encouraging through it, because I was still feeling very discouraged about it. And it's hard to be encouraging to someone else when you are discouraged yourself. Like that's not how you want to inspire and uplift somebody. And so I decided to just kind of, take it in myself, work through it, and kind of figure out my next step. So, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, We Crochet did the same thing, and they asked for pattern submissions again. And this one has been extremely publicized. So they are going to be getting so many submissions, and that in and of itself is so exciting for them, but also very nerve-wracking for somebody who is hoping to get accepted. So I, came up with some ideas, looked at the Pinterest boards, looked at all of this information. And if you want some more information, And She Laughs on Instagram did a amazing live that I participated in, and she's super inspiring. She got one of her patterns accepted last year, so that was super amazing for her. And so she's a really good person to kind of go to if you want some inspiration in that field, because she has experience with it. Anyway, so I came up with some submissions. I put hours and hours and hours and hours into work into them this past week. So that is why I don't have a ton of content to share with you knitting wise, because so much of my time has gone into that. And I submitted them. And so now I'm just in the waiting game, and I will keep you guys updated, because now I think, I owe it to you. I told you that I have submitted patterns, and now you are, I just feel I should follow up on that. But what I want to share through this experience, biblically wise, is just, disappointment is something that's hard to accept. And this, not getting patterns accepted is, I'm not trying to compare that to something such as grief or losing a family member or something as, life-changing as that. This is just a small disappointment in something that I was hoping would happen and didn't happen. But what I can learn from that is how to improve on myself, and how to, change the way that I submit a pattern, or change the way that I kind of hold myself through disappointment. And there's something so powerful in that, is just to take this disappointment and take something that, you were confident in and you were hopeful for, and figure out, after you have that time where you accept it and, learn to move on. This past week has been spent, comparing my submissions this time to my submissions last time, and see how different they look and how much I have changed as a designer and as a person, and how much I am trying to fit into the criteria that We Crochet wants versus not what I want, because obviously, I have already put so much work into these patterns, and I am excited for them and want to create them. But I have worked harder to make them align more with what We Crochet wants for their collections and for their magazines. So it's a learning process, and designing is something that is hard to do, especially when you are doing it for another company and you want to please that company and yourself. But again, there's always something to be learned through disappointment, and it is something that is going to happen. We were promised trials, and as hard as that is to say and to accept, it's true. Ever since the first sin, we know that we're gonna sin, we're gonna fall short, and bad things will happen. But it's kind of the way that we hold ourselves after those things, and the way that we move forward and continue, striving to please God. That is what will really kind of define who we are. So I just want to encourage you with that today. And if you are going through some other disappointment or some hard trial, just know that there is a light, and that light is always there. It's just a matter of finding it and choosing to look at that light, look at the light of Jesus, instead of that trial or disappointment that you are currently going through. So that was, I know, a little bit different than what I usually do, but I hope it was still encouraging. A little bit of a life update, I guess. So all of those submissions, of course, took up a good majority of my life the past week. But of course, alongside with that is school. So still going well, still difficult, but in good ways. I had my first exam this past Friday, and then I also had my first English essay. So crazy times, it's a crazy season, and that's okay. It's also a really beautiful one, and I've already learned so much. I'm still absolutely loving my classes. I'm so grateful that we can have them in person, and of course, that could change at the drop of a hat if somebody gets exposed, but I am hoping and praying that they stay how they're supposed to be this semester, so that I can have as successful as a semester as I can. So yeah, it has been a little bit shorter of a podcast this week, I think, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. I would love to hear what you are working on in the comments below, so be sure to tell me. You can also find me on all of those other social media platforms: Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy, Facebook, all of the above, and I have included links for all of those down below, so be sure to check those out. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to check out the show notes over on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all back here on this channel tomorrow with a super exciting pattern release, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again next time. Bye!